First off, congratulations. I know this is a big day for you. If you wouldn't mind explain your feelings on what a day like this feels and all the hard work you go through to make a day like this happen.
Well, right now it's just like a lot of anxiety. And with the support of my parents and friends and family, like it's been able to make this experience a lot easier because we work all together and we have a lot of the stuff, like like the cupcake holder is actually recycled kind of from my brother's wedding. So we've incorporated a lot of like family things into it that we've already used, and we try to make it the best experience possible just so we can enjoy it and not stress as much.
But it is fun. I mean, the process, I always talk to student athletes about the process of doing this and the recruiting aspect of it. What about that did you enjoy, and were there some things in there that you didn't really care for too much?
I absolutely love talking to the coach that I'm signing with, and the team. They really made me feel like part of the family, and I went for an overnight, and it was my very first time meeting them, and I felt like I had been friends with them forever, and it was just amazing how they included me in everything. When I went and watched them play in a tournament, the very first time I met them, they included me in their prayers, they included me in everything, their meals, and it was just an amazing experience because I felt like I just fit in right away, and at that moment I knew exactly what I needed to do.
What other schools might have been involved, and did they give you the same kind of feeling and output of caring the way that this school did?
There were several other schools that I was looking at, and I ended up narrowing it down to 3, and Huntington was always my top choice. And when I went and talked to the coaches and everything, they were all amazing, but it's just I felt more at home and more like I connected more with Huntington's team and the environment there when I stayed there and everything.
When you look back, though, at all the hours of preparation and the days where there were times you didn't want to go out and practice or you didn't want to compete or whatever, does it all make it worth it, and why?
Absolutely. You worked so hard I've been playing for 6 years. I started in 7th grade, absolutely knowing nothing about golf. And looking back, if I thought like back in 7th grade that I was going to be signing to a college, I would have laughed at myself because I had no clue what I was doing. And it just shows that like all the hard work that you put into it, even when you might not feel the best or you might just be tired or lazy, like it ends up proving it in the end that it's worth it.
Was there a time where you kind of got the idea that maybe college golf was going to be in your future, where somebody said, listen, if you keep working, this is a possibility?
The end of my sophomore year, I was like, wow, I'm actually kind of getting good at this. And that's kind of when it hit my reality. And I was like, if I keep going, like this is a really good chance. And then this year, this last senior season, it really came to me and I was like, I can do this. I was like, I just really have to stay with it and stay on myself. And luckily I have a great support system, and they always pushed me. And even if I was just like lazy and didn't want to do it, they're like, no, you need to do it. And I'd go and do it even though I didn't want to. But with the support that I had, like it was great to be able to go out and now prove myself like I could do it.
You know, there's so many that when you talk about your support system, that has to be so important because you've talked about it a lot so far, and I appreciate that because there are a lot of people that don't have that kind of support. That has to mean just a ton for you, not only now but in the future.
Absolutely. My parents have been there like a ton. They've gone to all of my matches, all of my practices. Sometimes they would show up, and they like mentally, which is a big part because golf is majorly mental. They were there for me like mentally even when I was like breaking down, and my friends and my other coaches from the first tee, they've dealt with a few of my breakdowns, and so it's great to be able to have people that you can express yourself to, because it gets overwhelming even if it's just a simple game, but it's really not. And I didn't realize that coming into it in 7th grade. I thought it was probably the easiest sport. That's why I chose it. And I was completely wrong. But with my friends and family and other coaches, like they've all been amazing with helping me through that.
All right, I'm going to go back to that because Donna and I would know about breaking down when it comes to golf. So where does that mental toughness come from when there's days where the shots don't go in, you're not putting well, things just never seem to be going right, yet you stay with it and not quit? Where does that come from?
I really think it comes from me wanting to prove to myself and others. If I say I'm going to do something, I will make it happen, just because I don't like to be wrong at all. And so I don't want anybody to be like, oh, I told you so. And we're like, no, I told you so. And so I think a lot of it is because I'm very competitive within myself. And that's what made me strive to do better and not give up.
Now, the other part of going to college and playing in sports is you got to go to school. Yeah. All right, so you got to go to class once in a while. What do you want to study and why?
I want to do occupational therapy assisting, and I think that mostly stemmed from my dad's stepdad. He had several strokes and heart attacks and had some other medical conditions that made it hard for him, including like COPD, Parkinson's. And so he had to do occupational therapy. And he was a very stubborn old man. And me being the baby of 5 grandchildren, I was the only one he would listen to. And so I think that all kind of led me into it, doing his therapy with him, sitting next to the nurses or whoever was there helping him and making him do his work and seeing how much he improved. It just kind of like sparked something in me, and I'm like, I want to do that. Like, I helped my grandpa, I can help other people.
So really, deep down in your heart, this is about helping others, and you certainly want to be selfish a little bit. You want to do something you enjoy, but it's about helping others.
Absolutely. I've always loved helping people, and I think this is a great way because as opposed to like physical therapy, like that's the bigger motor skills, and with occupational therapy it's more fine motor skills, and I feel like that's more important, at least to me, because yeah, it's great to walk, but I would feel better if I could at least like button my shirt. I feel like it's the little things, and if you can't button your shirt, like you're gonna be like, oh man, that sucks. But like if you can't walk, like yeah, that sucks too, but like if you just think like, oh, I can button my shirt, like that's something small, but a lot of people don't think of it that way.
Hey, you know, the other thing about going to college is it's not like high school, and Donna and I'll warn you about that already, because they make demands, and certain demands, you got to be here, you got to be here, you got to do this, you got to do this. A very rigorous schedule, especially for a student athlete. Have they talked to you about that and what it's going to take to be a student athlete?
Yes, they have, and I've talked with some of the other teammates on Huntington's team, and they said that our coach is very great at working with our schedules, and if he puts school as a priority over golf, and so if we have homework or if we have a project that needs to be done and we might need to skip out on practice, we can make that practice up another time, and so that way it's still balanced and we're still getting the work we need done, but we're also keeping up with our school.
Before I'll let you go, and maybe Dawn has something else for you, but I got to ask you, what do you say to the younger girls that are inspired to play a sport, not to give up? What do you tell them? What's their message to know that you can do this?
Even though it might be hard at the beginning, because just like me, I had no clue what I was doing, it's totally worth it in the end, and just to never give up on yourself, and it's always going to be worth it.
You know, I said last thing, but I got to ask you one more. What do you got to work on to be better at the next level? What are some of the areas in your game that have got to improve?
Completely mental. It's all mental for me. That's the only thing that stops me. If I have a bad day, sometimes I can get down on myself, and that's where my great support system comes in, and they pick me right back up and help me through it.